Hey guys, I got a new video for you today. What you see in front of you is the Boker Plus Rambler. That's the model, the Rambler. And it's actually a pretty nice little fixed blade knife. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you a little bit of an overview on it. It's not going to be a full review because again I haven't been carrying it. I actually purchased this a couple weeks ago, but I misplaced it. The box fell into my box where I keep all my empty boxes for my knives, and I've been looking for it since. I finally found it today, so I figured I'd go ahead and shoot this so you guys can see what it looks like. So this is the knife itself, and it comes with this leather sheath. The fit and finish of the sheath itself is pretty nice, but I do have some things that I need to give to the sheath, and I'll go over that. So let me go ahead and pull the knife out. And like I mentioned, it's a smaller knife. The overall length of the knife itself is 5.5 inches. So obviously, as you guys can see, it's a little knife. There you go. There it is in my hand. The actual blade length is 2.62 inches, so a little over 2.5 inches, which is, in my opinion, it's pretty good for an EDC blade, for small tasks and things like that. A fixed blade will always give you a little bit different feel than a folder will, especially depending on the task that you'll be doing. So as far as if you don't like carrying big fixed blade knives on a daily basis, this is a good alternative to that. The blade material is 440C stainless, so it's just your kind of run-of-the-mill steel for the price point of this particular knife, and depending on where you find it online, you'll be looking at anywhere from $25 to $35. Again, if you do your homework, you can find some good deals on this, and I think for that price, it's a pretty good knife. The actual handle material is black and blue G10. One thing that I do have to mention is that it is pretty slippery, so it doesn't offer a lot of grip as far as the G10 does. But it looks really nice. I think it contrasts the stainless steel blade very nicely, with that kind of blue outline there and then the black underneath. Then you also have this, I wouldn't call it jimping, it's more like cutouts on the blade itself. But if you do, have a tight grip on it, your thumb rests kind of nicely on there. But again, since it's not really an aggressive jimping, it does slide a little bit. It also has a pretty sizable lanyard hole in the back there, which I think is good because since the handle is so slippery, and since it's such a small knife, you're going to want to add a lanyard to there to actually give you a little bit more purchase. As you guys can see, it does have some finger cutouts here, and your fingers rest really nicely on there. But my third finger is almost not falling into that notch, and then my fourth one kind of want to rest down here, but it slides right off. So I will be adding a lanyard to this to give me a little bit of a tighter feel as far as the purchase on the knife goes. The blade is it's pretty nice. It's very thick, or very wide I should say, for such a small knife, which is one of the things that appeals to me about the particular knife. It's not a little knife with a skinny little blade. It does give you enough of a belly to be able to do a lot of tasks with it, especially on an EDC roll. So now on to the sheath itself. Like I mentioned, this is a leather sheath. The fit and finish is really nice on the sheath itself, but that's about it. For the most part, I think because it's such an inexpensive knife, they had to include just an inexpensive leather sheath with it. Which I'm glad. I'm glad they actually included a sheath with it. But for the most part, in my particular use and the way I would carry the knife, this sheath is not very good for that. It gives you this kind of folded over, the leather kind of folds over and creates a belt loop. So that in itself is one thing that I would give it, because it only allows for vertical carry. And if you wanted to maybe carry this in the middle of your back or something like that in a horizontal position, you wouldn't be able to do that because of the fact that it only gives you that option. The second thing is, once the knife is in there, and obviously because it's leather and the retention is pretty much throughout the whole thing, you kind of have to dig the knife in there really real down into the sheath itself. So what that does is it only leaves about an inch sticking out to be able to pull it out. Now this doesn't give you enough purchase to be able to to pull the knife out, so you kind of have to pinch it, and for the most part in between your thumb and forefinger, you pinch it on there, and once you get it out, then you have to readjust your grip to give you a little bit more purchase on the knife itself. So I think something more in a Kydex style, where maybe the sheath would come up to like right around there, give you a little bit more purchase on the handle itself, and then you don't have, you know, the rest of the material behind it, would obviously be a better option. Now, because of the size of this knife, and you know, some people's role, it might be a neck knife. So obviously with the Kydex just covering the blade itself, you'll be able to, you know, grab onto it and pull down from your neck, and it's ready to go. So I think for the most part, you know, a Kydex sheath would probably serve this knife a lot better. But, you know, I kind of see where, because of the price point, where they would go with this little leather sheath. Now, if you are watching this video and you're into making Kydex sheaths or anything like that, drop me a PM, because I would like to try and get a Kydex sheath for this particular knife. If you have the knife and you've done a sheath or anything like that, let me know. You know, maybe we can work out a trade or something like that for a sheath on the knife itself. So, by way of comparison, I always like to throw something in here. I didn't have anything as small as this, so what I did is I brought something that a lot of people know the size of, and this is just the BK, K-Bar, and SE collaboration, so the Escobar. Obviously, a lot of people know what this knife looks like, so I figured it would be a good substitute to see size-wise. So obviously, a lot smaller. The Rambler is, you know, as far as blade size go, or blade length and handle length goes, you know, obviously you can see that. Here, I'll put it on top of each other so you guys can kind of see. So there you go. As far as blade thickness also, there you go, so you guys can see, you know, it's a little bit thinner. Obviously it's a smaller knife, but here it is, you know, you can see the handle, how much smaller that is. So, but for the most part, it's a great little EDC knife. You know, if I had brought in a better sheath, I would definitely, you know, start EDCing this, throwing it into my rotation and stuff like that. But you know, just with that leather sheath, I think that kind of killed it for me. So let me show you guys. I kind of made this little lanyard for it. You know, I have a little bit of blue left over, so I figured I'd go ahead and do that. I'm gonna go ahead and thread it on there so you guys can see what it looks like. Just basically, this is just one of the inner strands from a piece of paracord. This is, you know, obviously the easiest way to do this. So the lanyard itself is not gutted, just so you guys know. So obviously it will fit ungutted 550 paracord. Just a little tug through there, and there you go. Get rid of this. And we'll feed the actual lanyard through it. Alright, so there it is. So now when I grab onto it, see this the lanyard right there gives me a little bit more purchase. This can actually even be further up, and you know, my finger has something to rest on, so when I use it, I have a little bit more control over it because I have almost a full grip on the actual knife itself. So that's the you know, that serves a big purpose on there. So I was glad that they included such a sizable lanyard hole to be able to do that, because you know, it definitely does come in handy. So that is the Rambler from Boker Plus. Again, if you guys have done sheaths for this in the past, or if you're into making sheath, drop me a PM and maybe we can work something out. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks.